Good morning. If you're still in the lobby, you can make your way in today. We're excited to have you. I know there's still some people lingering. I've seen plenty of other people, but welcome. My name is Andrea Juvie. Katie has today off, so I get to lead you today with the help of Grant. So you can stand up. We'll start with a song here today, and we'll go into some other things. I could just sit and wait for all your goodness, hope to feel your presence And I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel you, hope to feel something again. Sing, I could hold on. I could hold on. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I could be safe, oh, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home. Never let these walls down. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You lead me, Lord. You lead me, Lord. Sing, I could hold on. I could hold on. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I could be safe, oh, I could be safe here in your arms and never leave home. Never let these walls down. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You will lead me, Lord. You will lead me, Lord. I will be yours. I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. I will be yours, oh, I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy, oh, I will be yours, Lord. I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy light the path before me. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. And you have called me higher, and you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You have called me higher. You have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. Where you lead me. You will lead me, Lord. Where you lead me. You lead me, Lord. Oh. You lead me, Lord. You can have a seat.
Well, good morning. I can tell that this is going to be a little bit of a calmer morning, for better or worse. So I'm going to do that one more time. Kids from the back, good morning. It's a new year. We're just 1 week into this new year. All of us need a little bit of pick-me-up. It is so good to be with you, though, on this first Sunday of the new year. My name is Jeremy. I'm the pastor of the Grove, Cottage Grove, and we are a church that exists to grow goodness. And so I hope that you're being with us this morning, however you arrive, as sleepy as you arrive, whether you're watching with us online or you're somehow interacting with us throughout the week. Somehow that interaction, we hope, is cultivating the common good in and through you. Just want to turn your attention to a couple things as we begin this morning. Hopefully, as you came in this morning, you received a handout that looks like this. On the inside, that includes some of the most important information that you're going to want to know about the church, why we exist, our values, all of that, how to give to the Grove to make all of this possible, and then some more information about our ministry with kids. I'll go into more depth about that in just a couple minutes. Also on the inside, there's what we call the insert. The insert allows you to let us know that you are here with us today. Maybe this is your first time here with us and you want to let us know so that we can be in contact with you going forward. Or maybe this is your 100th time with us and you have updated contact information, or there's something else that you are curious about or that you're wanting to let us know. You can fill that out. On the back side, there's also boxes for you to indicate specific information of stuff that you're interested in. There is a spot for prayer requests. Again, if you want to share that you're with us today or you're requesting any specific information, you can fill that out. There's a basket at the back of the worship center that at any point during the service or after the service, you can drop it in there. Then on the back of the worship handout, we have our 3 most important things. These are the 3 things that we're really wanting to key in on this month. These are 3 different things because we're beginning a new year. This is a new month. Again, we will go into more detail about all of those things at the end of the service, but if you're curious about any of them now, you can just scan those QR codes or go to those links and get all the information that you need. Last thing, as you can tell, kids are very welcome members here of the Grove, Cottage Grove. It's not just that we kind of tolerate them, but we want to celebrate them as vital members of this congregation and make even our physical space fit for them to make sure that they know they're welcome. So in the backs of the pews, there are coloring sheets and crayons for them to be able to do something from their seats. They need to move their bodies a little bit more. We have the wiggle area over here. In just a few minutes, for our older kids, ages 4 through 5th grade, we will sing them out to Grove Kids for their age-appropriate programming. And then we also have a nursery that is available for kids ages 6 weeks through 3 years. So, yes, we love to have kids here at the Grove and to provide them with all that they need to be vital members of this community. I believe that's it for announcements at this point. So, we now get to move into the part of the service that we call Connection Point. This is your opportunity to be connecting with people around you. Building meaningful relationships with people is a really important thing, even and especially when you are new. And building those meaningful relationships often begins with short, forced interactions. Not all of you will go out of your way to have interactions, so we give you the opportunity and we try to lower the bar a little bit by providing you with a discussion topic. So in just a moment, we're going to ask you to stand up, find someone near you that you don't know or don't know very well to introduce yourself, and then you can discuss this question. Our question for today is, what is one goal that you have this year you've never had before? This is not a New Year resolution. You may or may not be a person who does a New Year resolution. I don't care. That's not what this question is. What is one thing that you would like to accomplish this year? Maybe it is surviving. If your answer is surviving, totally valid. Maybe you do have a big resolution that you want to share. That works too. Whatever it might be, what is one goal you have for this year that you've never had before? I didn't read the full question. Hopefully you've tried to survive every year up to this point. Congratulations that you've done that. Why don't you stand up, find someone near you that you don't know or don't know very well, introduce yourself, discuss this question, and we will be back in just a couple minutes.
children of the world. Every color, shape, and type, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
As I said, you can stay standing. We're gonna sing one more song here. I open up to you. This love that makes me do. Oh, may my heart receive this love that carries me from the head to the heart. Take me on a journey of letting go and getting lost in you. From the head to the heart. Take me on a journey of letting go, getting lost in you. My heart is open wide. I will receive your light. You give me faith like a child. In you my heart runs wild. There's no shame in looking like a fool when I give you what I can't keep to take a hold of you. There's no shame in looking like a fool when I give you what I can't keep to take a hold of you. More than words, more than good ideas. I found your love in the open field. More than words, more than good ideas. I found your love in the open field. More than words, more than good ideas. I found your love in the open field. Oh, from the head to the heart, you take me on a journey of letting go and getting lost in you. From the head to the heart, you take me on a journey of letting go and getting lost in you. 'Cause there's no shame in looking like a fool when I give you what I can't keep to take a hold of you. There's no shame in looking like a fool when I give you what I can't keep to take a hold of you. You can be seated.
So we are beginning a new series today, which we're calling Letter to Our Younger Selves. So the idea was that we would be focusing on a handful of characters from the Bible, and trying to think through if it were possible for them to write a message or pass down wisdom from their younger self or from their older selves to their younger selves, what are some of the things that they would want to make sure that they said? And so what we thought would be a really fun idea to go along with the series is to have someone from the congregation every single week kind of do that for themselves. So have one of you out there come up here and actually write out a letter as if you were writing a letter to your younger self. What's the wisdom, what are the lessons that you would like to impart yourself 5, 10, 15, 20, even more years ago? And so each of the next 6 weeks, we're going to have someone come up here before the message and do that. And we're going to kick it off today with Mr. Nick Ostring. So why don't we give Nick a round as he comes up here.
Dear younger me, you have so much to look forward to in life. You are in your formative years and have been taught to always shoot for the moon. Your goals in life are all focused on achieving something, but you aren't quite sure what achievement really means. As a result, you set these expectations on yourself that very few will ever achieve. However, anything less than the path that you set for yourself feels like a mistake or a failure. It's hard. When you fall short of your own expectations, there is some arbitrary reason that you use to justify why you need to work harder next time. What you won't learn until later, though, is that these shortcomings are the actual lessons that will shape you into who you will become. Since you were young, you've always been a people pleaser. A really endearing quality of yours, younger me, is that you have a tremendous heart. You are the first one to always offer a hand and always willing to chip in. In several ways, you feel that it is your obligation to fill the gap in someone else's needs, and what you won't learn until much later is that this approach to life is unhealthy. This is as basic as babysitting your cousins while the grown-ups are out having fun, to more complicated scenarios like choosing a career, working with children who have a wide range of abilities and special needs. Every fiber of you wants to provide the care and support that your students require, and you think that you can change the world if you just buckle down a little harder, but it breaks you. What you will experience is burnout beyond what you thought was possible. It will lead you to your first big shift in life to begin looking inward. It will feel selfish at first, but younger me, it's because you haven't done this before. I promise you, it gets better, and it's normal to care about yourself. Dear younger me, you are a hardworking person. Much like your nature to provide for others, you are not afraid to roll up your sleeves and do the work. You can look at this time in your life and feel a sense of pride with your accomplishments. You start developing hobbies that require significant physical strain. You make strategic decisions that lead you to continuing your college education. You are one of the first people to volunteer for overtime hours, and you look at your next challenge with excitement. What I need you to hear, younger me, is that rest is acceptable. You were never taught that. There was always another hill to climb. You will learn rest, but it will unfortunately take a pandemic to understand it. Since you are always moving, it is hard for you to be present. You are always thinking about or preparing yourself for what comes next, and much like your ideas of achievement, you have no idea what that means. You think about how much life will be better when you get to that next phase in your career, or as a parent, or with your hobbies, or whatever you are working towards. But that next phase always seems to evade you. There are good components about wanting to grow and further develop, but even when you get to that next phase, it never feels like quite enough. With growth, you will be able to understand that life is about being present and experiencing the joy that comes with it, not about climbing your next hill. So, dear younger me, you are growing and learning. It is acceptable to take time for yourself, make mistakes, and change your path. By circumstance or choice, you will learn how to do this. Had you stuck with your original plan when you were a teenager, you would have been a doctor with 6 kids. The life you build for yourself will be so much better than what you think it will be. Please be patient and try to enjoy each day. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nick. I am really looking forward to the next 5 weeks of other stories as well. So this 4-word phrase I've been hearing a lot over the last 7 days. New year, new you. Have any of you said that? I'm sure you've heard it. There's lots of things that as a new year comes in, there's lots of phrases that people throw out, and yet I think that is the one that I hear most regularly. 4 words, technically just 3 words because you repeat new, but the idea is that this is an opportunity for self-improvement, for you to change, for you to be different, markedly different from the person that you were even just 7 days ago. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about self-improvement. One of the purposes of this series and why we even are doing these is the idea that we have been improving over time, right? Improving is good, whether it is mentally or physically or spiritually, all of that is good. And yet what I think often happens is that it's a laser focus on the future, right? And looking towards the future is good, and self-improvement can be good, but what I think that often requires of us is to disregard the past and disregard where we've come from and disregard even how far we have come. How many of you are satisfied with where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Probably not. You have improved in some way. You have lived life. Those things, whether good or bad, have shaped you into the person you are today, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, but you have grown in resiliency and grown in wisdom. And so, simply looking forward disregards how far we have come already. One of the places where I come from originally is Northwest Wisconsin. This is where I grew up, and my wife grew up. And growing up in rural Northwest Wisconsin, it's almost impossible to avoid country music. Try as you might to avoid country music, and try as your very conservative Christian parents who only listen to conservative Christian music might try to prevent you from listening to country music, it's almost inevitable. That was the case for me. Try as I might, by high school especially, I was listening quite regularly to country music. It didn't help that my then girlfriend, now wife, her dad was in rodeo and just in the country western, that was their ethos. So that did not help. However, as I graduated from high school and I moved away from that small town, rural Wisconsin, and I went off to college, which was in not small town, rural Wisconsin. My context changed considerably. The people that I surrounded myself with changed quite considerably. I changed quite considerably because my lived experiences changed quite considerably. And I would argue also that the music changed quite considerably, not for the better. We could have a conversation about that. And so all of these years later, I would never think about getting in my car and turning on the radio and going to the country music station. Sorry if any of you continue to be country music fans. However, there remains one country music artist that I continue to listen to all these years later, to the point where when we get to summer, my oldest daughter refers to my playlist with this artist as Dad's summer music. Any guesses? Any guesses? Garth Brooks? Brad Paisley. I've talked about this before, so this is it's a quiz to see how well you've been paying attention before. Brad Paisley. Any Brad Paisley fans out there? I still love listening to Brad Paisley, especially when I'm in the backyard in the summer and grilling. So in 2017, I can't believe it, 17 years ago, 2017 was 17 years ago, yes. I'm sorry, 2007. 2007 was 17 years ago. Math is hard. My brother is the accountant. 2007, which was 17 years ago, Brad Paisley came out with an album called Fifth Gear. Okay? Fifth gear, like the gear in the car. And I have distinct memories of going to Target and buying the CD and then getting in my 1998 Chevy Malibu and putting that CD into the car, and then driving along the south shore of Lake Superior along with my then girlfriend and now wife, and listening to this album on our way to Bayfield, Wisconsin. And if you're not familiar with Fifth Gear, this album includes such cultural markers like "I Want to Check You for Ticks." I re-listened to the album last night to kind of put myself back in that space. It was a big song then. However, also on that album was this song called "Letter to Me." So, in 2007, Brad Paisley came up with this song where he writes all of his music, so he comes up with this stuff on his own. And he had this idea of, well, what are the messages that I would pass down to my younger self if that were a possibility? If I were to write a letter to me, what are the things that I would want to make sure that I included in that letter to me? And so this is the first few lines of that song. It goes, "If I could write a letter to me and send it back in time to myself at 17, first I'd prove it's me by saying, look under your bed. There's a skull can and a Playboy no one else would know you in. Then I'd say I know it's tough when you break up after 7 months. And yeah, I know you really liked her, and it just don't seem fair, but all I can say is pain like that is fast and it's rare." And then he goes on and shares all of this other wisdom that he would like to impart to his younger self when he was just 17 years old. That is what we are doing in this series. We are embracing our full Brad Paisley selves and saying, if we as people who have come a long way, what are the messages that we would want to impart to our younger selves? And what we are also doing is we're looking back at 6 characters from the Bible over 6 weeks and saying, if we were to choose this character, what is a message that their older selves would want to pass down to their younger selves? What is the wisdom that they would want to impart? And so coming fresh off of Christmas, we're beginning with Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary is obviously a very familiar character as the mother of Jesus. She's a very prominent character within the Christian church. There are some traditions, many of which I know that many of you grew up in, that hold Mary in such high esteem that you pray to Mary. As I say that, it's possible that those prayers are like going through your heads because you have said them so many times. Mary is a very venerated person, a very venerated character within the history of the Christian church. And yet, this was not always the case for Mary. We see from the very get-go that Mary was not someone who was held in super high esteem. Mary was a teenager born in ancient Israel, in occupied Israel under the head of the Roman Empire. She was born into poverty in the backwaters of ancient Israel. And then suddenly one day, you probably know this story because we just finished the Christmas season. Suddenly one day, an angel appears to this teenager who has been betrothed to be married. This was not a decision that was her own. This was a decision that her father, who was basically in possession of her, made to another family. So she was betrothed to be married to someone who would basically take over ownership of her as her husband. An angel came to her one day and said, "Greetings, I bring you good news that you are going to be pregnant. You are going to have a baby, and it is going to be God's baby." She is surprised by this because she hasn't done the thing. She's not yet married, and she hasn't done the things that kind of consummate the marriage. And yet the angel once again says, "Do not be afraid. You are going to be blessed." I imagine that a more honest or maybe even sarcastic response from Mary to this angel would have been, "Woo, wow, great. I'm so excited. I am so blessed. I'm just a teenager and I'm going to have a baby out of wedlock. And I know this is going to be fantastic when I go out and say, no, I was not sleeping around. This is God's baby. And I'm sure that everyone who hears that is going to say, wow, you are so blessed. You are not crazy and a liar and a blank expletive. And yet, what we see in the story as it follows, even as she was scared, even as an angel tells her, don't be scared, she continues to be scared because, of course, she would be. Her response is not to run from it. Her response is actually to say, may that be so for me. She consents. In reality, Mary has never been asked for consent. She has had no autonomy over her life. She has no ability to choose. And yet in that moment, she musters up the strength and the courage within her to consent even when she hasn't been asked for consent. We see this strength and we see this resolve continue as things go forward. She eventually has the baby, ignoring all of the things that people likely said about her. Her husband Joseph stays with her. She goes out into public with this baby. She's not scared to bring him out into public and scared about what people are going to say about this baby or about her. And I can only imagine some of the things that she witnessed from this young child as the years progressed. In fact, it was clear that as she watched this child grow, she saw this strength and resolve that she had developed start to develop within him as well. She taught this child really well. She taught this child and raised this child to be strong-willed and compassionate, to stand up for what was right and to stand up for people who had been wronged. And it got to the point where he had got to an age where he starts going out into the world for himself. And it is Mary actually who is the one who kind of pushes Jesus to step into his public ministry. And it's Mary who prompts him to perform his first miracle. This story happens in the Gospel according to John, one of the biographies about the life of Jesus. Here's how the story goes. I love this. Now on the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. When the wine ran out, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no wine left." Jesus replied, "Woman, why are you saying this to me? My time has not yet come." His mother told the servants, "Whatever he tells you, do it." So they're at this wedding, and the wine runs out, and the wine being a sign of God's blessing, wine runs out at a wedding, and that's not a very good omen because it seems like God's blessing has run out at this wedding. And Mary, the mother, makes note of this and knows that her child is capable of doing something, and she calls him out on it. And Jesus is like, "Mom, now's not the time." And being the good mom, what does she say? She says, "I'm sorry, Jesus, I'm not going to push you that much further." No, she says, "Do whatever he says to do." And he's forced to do this miracle. And suddenly he steps into public life. He steps into public ministry. This is his first miracle that he does in public. And it's because of Mary's prompting. The strength and the resolve that has built up within her is now being handed down to Jesus, who then goes out and begins his ministry from there. It's not that she just holds it over his head, but she allows him to step into who he really is, just as she has done. There's another story from a little bit later where Jesus, he's out in his ministry now and he's ruffling feathers, and lots of people are taking interest. People are excited about it. There's also people who are not excited about what Jesus is doing. And Mary hears some of the rumblings, and doing her mom thing, she shows up at this house where he's at, and she tries to get him to calm down because she knows if he continues to do this and say these things, that he's going to get himself killed. Mom steps in, and she tries to protect her son. And lo and behold, guess what? Mom was right. And yet, Mom also did not hang that over his head, because as she is proven right, she doesn't say, "Ha." She is the one who sticks around. She is one of the few who sticks around when she is proven right. When he is executed, she is one of the handful of people, almost entirely women, who stick around not only for the good stuff, but for the bad stuff. And because she is willing to stick around, to be that good mother, she is around for the good stuff as well. Not only is she there at his feet as he is crucified, but she is there at the tomb just a few days later when it's revealed that the tomb is empty. And as the days and the weeks pass, and as Jesus leaves again and then hands his ministry off to his followers, Mary becomes one of the leaders of this new movement that eventually spreads across the globe. That confidence and resolve continues to build up within herself, to the point where the people who were writing the story about Jesus years later, writing down these biographies, put these words in her mouth. When she hears that she is going to have a baby, once that strength and resolve builds up within her, even amidst the fear, she breaks out in song. This song is called the Magnificat. Perhaps you have heard this before. This is from Luke 1, 46 through 55. My soul exalts the Lord, and my spirit has begun to rejoice in God my Savior, because God has looked upon the humble state of God's servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed, because God who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is God's name. From generation to generation, God is merciful to those who fear God. God has demonstrated power with God's arm. God has scattered those whose pride wells up from the sheer arrogance of their hearts. God has brought down the mighty from their thrones and has lifted up those of lowly position. God has filled the hungry with good things and has sent the rich away empty. God has helped God's servant Israel, remembering God's mercy as God promised to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever. Eventually, she too got to the point where she believed that she was blessed. So, if we are to imagine an older Mary writing a letter to her younger self, what might that sound like? What wisdom might she impart to her younger self, and what wisdom might she impart to us 2,000 years later? Well, I imagine that a letter to her younger self might sound a little bit like this. Dear Mary, in the list of things you'll have trouble believing in this letter, the idea that this is coming from your future self might in fact be the easiest to believe. Here's one. People will still be talking about you 2,000 years from now. In fact, some people sing this song, Mary, Did You Know? It's a rhetorical question asking whether you understood what your baby boy would grow to be. Of course you didn't know. You could barely hear a word coming out of the mouth of that messenger after they said you were going to be pregnant. Here's another one. People call you blessed among women. I know, right? A poor young girl pregnant outside of marriage, blessed. Not only blessed, but the most blessed. And people think you are crazy for saying that the baby is actually God's. The truth is that no one can understand what you're going through, except that I know exactly what you're going through and what you're going through. So with years of experience, here's what I want you to know. First, I know you're feeling scared and powerless, but you are strong, Mary. And what you're going through is only going to make you stronger. There are actually harder things that you're going to have to face, but all of this is making you more resilient than almost anyone else. The next thing you need to know is that lots of people will have lots of hurtful things to say about you, including people who are closest to you. But you're not any of those things. You really are blessed, but your worth does not come merely from the one you gave birth to. God was already at work in and through you long before and long after that child grew within you. Your child might be the Son of God, but you are also a beloved child of God. Just as you are, you always have been, and you always will be. Lastly, You are an amazing mom and an amazing leader, both to your family and to the family of faith. You'll give up what's best for you so that others can have what they need. You'll try to protect your child from harm, but also challenge them to step into who they are meant to be. You'll be there in the hard times, long before and long after everyone else, and you'll provide comfort and hope, even and especially when things look most bleak. You are an inspiration, Mary, to millions and millions of people across the globe and across thousands of years, but also to me. With love, your older self. Perhaps that's a message that you could use today as well. May that be so. So with that, we are going to move into the time that is known as communion. There are other traditions that would call this the Lord's Supper or the Eucharist. This is an opportunity to look back while also looking forward. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he was gathering with his closest followers for a meal. It was a meal that his ancestors had been celebrating for hundreds of years, looking back to this time when God had acted decisively in history to free them from slavery. And so as he gathered around this table for this meal with his closest followers, retelling this story as they had told time and time and time again, he took these very familiar elements and he gave them new meaning, looking back and also looking forward. So as they gathered for supper, first he took the bread, took it and said, this bread, imagine this bread is like my body, broken for you. Do this as often as you eat it in remembrance of me. In the same way, after the meal, he took the cup, said, imagine this cup is my blood, God's new covenant for you, poured out for many. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. As often as you eat this bread and you drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes again. As the kids come back in, we can talk through a little bit of logistics about what this looks like. Here at the Grove, everyone is welcome to participate in communion. You do not have to have a list of things that you have to believe. If you miss this check mark, then you're not welcome up here. You do not have to be a member of our church in order to participate. You do not have to be an adult in order to participate. The best way to experience the grace of God is to experience it, and so all are welcome to come up here and participate. As you come up, we will have two different stations, two people at each of the stations. We will have a plate here with the bread. This bread is gluten-free. It is vegan, so if you have either of those needs, those are things that you do not have to worry about. If, however, you're worried about some cross-contamination or anything, we also have these cups that you are able to make use of. And then we have these cups as well. This is grape juice, not wine, so if you're in recovery, you are welcome to participate as well. As you come forward, we will have these two people. One will serve you the bread, say a blessing for you. You can take the bread and then dip it in the cup. If you lose it in the cup, do not go fishing. Do not go fishing for it. We have plenty of bread to go around. If you drop it in the cup, keep your fingers out of the cup. We'll give you another piece of bread for you to take. And then you're welcome to return to your seats. If you do one of these, we have a garbage at the back for you to be able to throw those away. So with that, I will invite our servers to come forward, and as they do so, I will have you repeat after me. Christ has died. Christ is risen. Christ is coming again. All right, and when you are ready, you are welcome to come forward.
Everything inside me cries for order. Everything inside me wants to hide. is the shadow of an angel or a warrior. If God is pleased with me, why am I so terrified? Someone tell me I am only dreaming. Somehow help me see with heaven's eyes. And before my head agrees, my heart is on its knees. Holy is He, blessed am I, be born in me, be born in me. Trembling heart, somehow I believe that you chose me. I'll hold you in the beginning. You will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem. Be born in me. All this time we've waited for a promise. All this time we waited for my arms. Did you wrap yourself inside the unexpected, so we might know that love would go that far? Be born in me, be born in me. Trembling heart, somehow I believe that you hold me. I'll hold you in the beginning. You will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem. Be born in me. I am not brave, I'll never be. The only thing my heart can offer is a vacancy. I'm just a girl, nothing more, but I am willing, I am yours. Oh, 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 be born in me, be born in me. I'll hold you in the beginning. You will hold me in the end. Every moment in the middle, make my heart your Bethlehem. Be born in me. Be born in me. Be thou my vision, O Lord Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my life. Would you stand? You can stand for this part. Be thou my wisdom, be thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure, my all. High King, High King of heaven, when victory is won, may I reach heaven's joys, oh bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. Still be my vision, O ruler of all.
All right. I will turn your attention to the back of the worship handout for our 3 things. However, we have 3 additional things today. So I'm going to try to go through these really quickly. Number 1 that's actually on here is the Pajama Ball. Pajama Ball is one of our biggest events of the year where we clear out this space, and we have it on February 9th, 6 to 8 p.m. We have kids and grown-ups come in costumes or pajamas, and there's all sorts of crazy lights going on in here, and it's just a really fun opportunity for us to be able to open up our space for the community. We are looking for volunteers, however, to help with this event. So if you are willing to volunteer in some capacity, maybe you're one of those crazy people that wants to be out here on the dance floor, or maybe you're one that wants to be in the background, helping set up, helping clean up, that type of stuff. We're looking for all sorts of volunteers. So if you're interested in helping us to pull this event off, you can go to that QR code and sign up. The second thing is about partnership. Partners are those who consider the Cottage Grove to be their church home and commit their prayers, presence, gifts, service, and witness. We mention this again because at the end of this month, on the 28th, I believe, we're going to have an all-partner meeting immediately after worship to talk about our last year and the year ahead and try to plan out what are we needing to focus on in the year ahead. If you're a partner, plan to be there. If you're not yet a partner, but consider this to be your church home, now's the time to make that commitment. If you want more information about what it means to be a partner or how to become one, you can fill out your worship insert and check become a partner on the back and drop it in the basket at the back. The third thing is about getting involved. One of the things that we love for people who consider this their church home to do is to find a place where they can use their gifts and passions. If you're not yet in a volunteer role, we'd love to connect you to one. All right, number 4, not on the back here. Grove groups. We have grove groups that meet regularly. However, one of the things that we like to do is create grove groups around specific needs or specific affinities. One of those things is a teenager grove group. Our teenager grove group will be next meeting 2 weeks from today, right? 2 weeks from today, immediately after worship. If you have questions about that, you can talk to Jordan Wilson. I almost said Yorshak. Jordan Wilson over here, who's been leading that group. Another group, however, that we're looking to form because we're feeling the need for it is a group for those who have experienced divorce recently. So if you are in that camp or know someone in that camp and could use some sort of connection, we want to hear from you because we can sense that there's a need, but we want to help to form a group that meets your needs rather than us saying, we're going to provide you with a specific curriculum that we get you together and you find completely unhelpful based on your lived experience. So if you are in that category or you know of someone in that category who could benefit from that, you can send them my way, or again, fill out the worship insert and check Grove Group, and we will follow up with you. Fifth thing, if you were responsible for helping us decorate with one of these Christmas plants and you have not picked it up yet, please do so today. We've got this one right here, and then there's 3 or 4 out there as well. And then the last thing is, it was just our church's birthday. So 2 years ago, on an extremely cold January morning, we launched weekly worship here, and it has now been 2 years of doing weekly worship, and we have grown so much, and we're so excited for, again, looking back how far we've come, but we're also excited for what is ahead. So we're going to sing happy birthday, right?
Yep. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear the Grove, Cottage Grove. Happy birthday to you.
The selfie from the front is apparently a tradition. Well, with that, you're already standing. I'll have you extend your hands to receive this blessing as we go. As we go, may you know that you are strong and resilient and a beloved child of God, capable of facing the challenges in front of you and being an inspiration to countless others, perhaps even yourself. May that be so. Amen.
Bring me your weak, your weary. Bring me your strange and cold. I come for hope.